Egypt will have a parliament for the first time in more than 3 years with the inaugural session of a new legislature. New parliamentary elections were delayed. However, they were finally held in November and December 2015. Still with the same issue from Al-Masri اليوم وريد. In the name of God, we inaugurate the session. The June 30th Parliament is launched today, and in support of Egypt nominates Abdel Al for the post of the Parliament Speaker. The MPs return today to convene after 42 months, and the swearing-in would take 5 hours. And the High Elections Commission says the parliamentary elections is the most transparent ever. And still with the same issue, and from اليوم السابع وريد, Abdel Al, the strongest nominee for the post of the Parliament Speaker. 19 are competing for the post of the Parliament Speaker deputies. The measures session is launched today, headed by Abu Shukka. Dr. Mervat, how do you see the event of the day and the convening of the long-awaited parliament by all Egyptians?
Definitely, it's the third and last, step in our roadmap, which has been drawn on July 3rd by then
after June 30 revolution
by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
Right.
Then he was the High Commission of our army. But let me tell you one thing. I don't like what was going on yesterday, okay, between the various MPs. Okay, competing means I could go into an election and lose it. But this doesn't mean that if I lose, okay, I say bad words about the government, say that there is a conspiracy, say that there are institutions supporting one nominee against the other. This is totally wrong. Especially when it comes from one like Mr. Mustafa Bakri.
Right.
Okay, I'm very glad that he has gone back on his word of not withdrawing. Why? Because we have to learn that we're still young, we're still babies in democracy. And we have to accept losing an election. We have to.
Right.
Okay? And this doesn't mean that people are the government is conspiring against me. Throwing things like that, really, you are looking for yourself only and not for the welfare or the well-being state itself. Okay? So I'm glad that he withdrew his word from withdrawing from this alliance of supporting Egypt. Supporting Egypt means I support the existence of its institutions, Naveen.
Right.
Okay.
Right. What do you think are the most important files or priorities on the agenda of the new parliament?
A lot. Okay. During the last 4 or 5 years, there have been decrees, that have been laws and rules put by people like Mohammed Morsi, by the old parliament which came in 2012. Okay, many are confusing rules or decrees, and they have to be at least revised, all of them, which people say it will take a hell of a lot of time. In addition, I believe, regardless of what Mr. Mustafa Bakri yesterday said, and he went back in his word, as I said, but this is a very transparent election. We don't want to ruin it for individuals. Okay?
Right.
We have really to cause to the outside world that that Egypt is going into a new phase.
Right.
A phase of democracy, a phase of transparency, no interference on part of the president, and it was really amazing what happened on these election days. When I go back in memory and I revise how things went on, It's like a miracle, Naveen.
Right.
What is happening now is a miracle for all Egyptians by all standards. And it has amazed everybody. Whether it be, we were amazed ourselves. You know, when we went in the streets, I thought I was the only one, you know, against everything that was going on. No, I found the whole building was in the street. The streets were filled. Look, what happened on June 30th will not be repeated again. And no, you know, people can stand what has been going on in Egypt, as we did.
Right, and also I would like to know your opinion about the political coalitions. How do you see the role of political coalitions in this upcoming parliament?
I don't like what is going on. Even Tahini al-Kibeli, whom I really loved and admired and still do. But I want people to get over this ego, I. It's we now,
right.
Okay? This teamwork, this, you know, I deny myself for the well-being of my country. I'm not looking for a post. I'm looking for the well-being of this country, okay? So personal interests have to be put aside. And instead of having personal interests, I have a country's interest. Where does it lie? Where is it heading? How can I better the lives of those who have been suffering for the past 30, 40 years? Otherwise, they will be empty words thrown by our elite, you know, for nothing. Just to get famous, just to be elected or selected as the appointees in our parliament. Okay, so I'm saying we are still, you know, like a toddler, actually.
Right.
We will grow up with time. And democracy is not something given. It is something earned, Naveen. We have to earn what we're doing. Okay?
And back to Al-Ahram, and we read from page 3, more local news, that the Court of Cassation supports the verdict of the imprisonment of Mubarak and his 2 sons in the case of the presidential palaces. The Court of Cassation has rejected an appeal by former President Hosni Mubarak and his 2 sons, Ala and Gamal, against a ruling issued against them in May of last year. The defendants were challenging a 3-year jail sentence for stealing £125 million of funds that were allocated for the restoration of the presidential palaces. The court has thus upheld the of the jail sentence. Dr. Mervat, your comment on the case of President Mubarak?
I'm not against convicting ex-President Mubarak, but I am against humiliating Mubarak. At the end of the day, nobody can take what President Mubarak has done for Egypt, you know, as a soldier, okay? He was the one who really you know, headed the first airstrike, and we cannot forget that.
Right. Dr. Mervat Madkour, Professor of Political Economy of the Middle East Research and Development, many thanks for joining us. And
thanks have a good day. Naveen. Thanks to you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to the end of our daily press review. Stay tuned. We'll be back for resuming the breakfast show.